When you watch a movie, you get to see exactly what we don't have in real life. You don't get that, what we call third-person omniscient perspective in the real world, where we get to see everything that's going on. But you know how when you're watching a movie and there's the villain and the good guys and the in-between guy and the gray guy, you know how when you're watching that movie and you're like, oh man, everything is being contrived. That's how I feel about this year. Fear, hate, rinse, repeat. Fear, hate, rinse, repeat. Everyone is so angry in 2020. Hold that thought. I came down here on the lake tonight because it's peaceful, but you hear that? You hear the trees and the wind just kind of blowing, and the 2020 really sucks, and I'm sick of it. But the truth is, it's not new. It's not like they just came up with this. It's not like these tactics haven't been used against us before. Early 2020, bright hopes, new year, and then COVID came. Now, let's not even get into all the craziness about COVID. What we can know for sure is that it was politicized, right? I've done other videos talking from the very beginning when this all started about COVID. But you know what? It was more than that. It's about fear and it's about control. And have you noticed that as soon as the COVID, people stop fearing as much, then we turn around and they give us something else. They give us fear, and then they give us fear with anger and hate, and then they seem to kind of flip back and forth, right? It was CV, and then it was riots, and then it was CV, and then it was Kyle Rittenhouse, and this Gorilla Pod. I wish it was a little more oomphy. You know, when things happen, people say, what's your opinion, Gavin? Make a video. And then I make a video and they say, Gavin, you can't have an opinion. You ran to Mexico. So, like, I lose if I do and I lose if I don't. And with the way YouTube's been the past year, I haven't been making a lot of videos, but I've been thinking I need to start doing a vlog, right? I need to start vlogging more and keeping it simple, like this video. What the elites are doing is they're putting us into a mindset where we can't win for liberty. You're either left or you're right. The reason I catch so much hate, let's come back to that hate. I catch so much hate because I don't want to be on either side. This rock is uncomfortable, just like 2020. I don't want to be left. I don't want to be right. I want to be just. I want to be fair. I want to be a good neighbor. I want to love my neighbor like Jesus did. The system hates it if we think for ourselves, if we care about others. We're supposed to look at others through the spotlight of news. If our neighbor is said to have done something horrible, we're not supposed to go talk to our neighbor or his neighbors. We're supposed to listen to whatever his accuser, the government, is saying. That's why our nation's justice system has become a witch hunt from every side. It's become a witch hunt for sex crimes. It's become a witch hunt for crimes against the government, rioting. One side says rioters should be in prison, and then they say they're patriots and they want to defend the Constitution while they wave a freaking blue line flag, and then they say they're patriots and they want freedom and they want the Constitution. You can't have both. That's cognitive dissonance. Can't believe in Trump and believe in the Constitution /freedom/personal liberty. They say Oh, so you want Biden to win. Guys, imagine living in a world. Imagine being in a world where you said we have a republic and we get to vote for our leaders to rule our country, but the only two leaders we get to vote for are two psychotic, senile clowns. That's 2020. That's the USA. So don't tell me if you don't vote for Trump, you're voting for Biden. If you don't vote for Biden, you're voting for Trump. I choose neither because I'm not a psychopath. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to bomb people. I don't want to kill babies. I don't want communism. Then they say, oh, well, you don't support Trump. You must be a communist because you don't support the police. How does that even make sense? Communist regimes are controlled by psycho people like our police, Blue ISIS. Our nation is certainly socialist, and it's virtually communist at this point, and you do what you're told or police kill you. And so on the one hand, you have the patriots over here, like many of whom I was with at the Bundy Ranch, and they're saying, get ready for the boogaloo when it goes down. And then over here you have the left, which tends to be kind of socialist and doesn't always have the right reasons and the right causes either, but they're actually resisting the police terrorists, right? The BLM is actually doing what patriots have said they were going to do for decades, but instead they licked boots. Sure, there's a few bad things being done, and the news media documents the bad things so that they can demonize and destroy. It's like a woman facing life in prison because she threw a Molotov cocktail at police cars. This beautiful young woman who had the balls to go out and do what patriots have been saying they were going to do for years and actually resist, actually put fear in the hearts of these cops. Now, I'm not a man of violence. I don't think we should go out and just be shooting, but these cops need to be run out of town, like we've seen in some of these communities in Mexico when people finally say enough. If that's rioting, then all of the founding fathers that the so-called patriots claim to praise were rioters. And guess what? Guess what, guys? Let's talk about rioting. One side's racist, the other side's rioters. One side is a denier, the other side is fascist. Back and forth. Fear, division, hate, rinse, repeat. Are we seeing the pattern? We are the characters in the movie. When you go out as an armed military force, aka the police and military of the United States, and you create violence, terror, fear, theft, and insecurity in the streets, and then people get angry and they start throwing things at you, they're not the rioter. You're the rioter. You're the criminal, and you're the terrorist. Every freedom resistance movement in history has been called rioters by the tyrants who want to crush it and the loyalists who support those tyrants. Can I repeat that? Every justice movement in history has been called rioters, criminals, and terrorists by the fascist tyrants who want to silence them and the loyalists who support those fascist tyrants. Does that mean that all the Black Lives Matter supporters are doing the right thing? Does that mean there's not crowds of people that are losing control, doing stupid stuff, destroying people's private property? No. But we've seen firsthand that sometimes the people destroying the private property are actually undercover cops. Because when they create chaos, the news creates a media spin and you share it. It's called the meme mob. We see the meme mob on everything from both sides. We see the meme mob with the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Kyle Rittenhouse killed people, you guys. Now, on the other hand, I didn't come out and say, whoa, this guy's a domestic terrorist. People have a right to bear arms. People have a right to defend themselves. However, despite a lot of my friends staunchly disagreeing with me and being angry at me for this, I haven't seen a whole lot of evidence that anyone was using lethal force against Kyle. And so what I see mostly is a young man who lost control, who shouldn't have been there in the first place, who starts shooting in the street. And I see people trying to stop him in a very sad situation, but those people had an incredible amount of courage for trying to stop him. But when it's all said and done, the left says, here's a domestic terrorist, ban guns, and the right says, BLM are terrorists, it's good that he shot them. It's never good when you're shooting your neighbor in the street, you guys. You've always failed. So, okay, we got light. I'm putting a light on, because screw darkness. Self-defense is that you can meet force with force. But I don't see anyone shooting at Kyle. Does that mean I formed a solid opinion? No, because I feel like there's so much faction in this. Self-defense is a right, but if you have the mentality of, anybody messes with me, I'm gonna blow their brains out. If that's your mentality, you're an idiot. And you should put your gun away and get a can of pepper spray or a taser or something, because you are not intelligent enough to be running around with that gun. That doesn't mean you don't have a right to, but you're going to get yourself into trouble with it. Antifa's lighting the fires. How stupid does this get? Like, there's not even a disproportionately large amount of fires this year compared to other years, okay? And suddenly they're arresting all these people for arson and all the fires were contrived. Well, who knows? Maybe government's lighting fires so they can breed fear and miscontent, because remember, fear, hate, rinse, repeat. Fear, sickness, hate, Black Lives Matter. Fear, fires, hate, Kyle Rittenhouse. Fear, elections, hate, party. It just goes on and on and on. So the left says to me, Gavin, you're a right-wing fascist nutjob. And the right says to me, Gavin, you're a left-wing communist. And I'm like, whoa. I just want people to be left alone, bro. Just set aside how you visualize what happened there for a moment. If the roles were reversed, if Kyle Rittenhouse was a Black Lives Matter kid, and the people trying to disarm him were militia patriots, the narrative would be the exact opposite. Most, if not all, of the people saying he acted in self-defense would say that Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization and that the people trying to disarm him were heroes. That's what you got to do. You have to be able to reverse the roles and actually be honest with yourself. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm not saying that my opinions on this are always right. I'm always looking to be given more information, more accurate information. The sun's setting here. Check this out. It's kind of relaxing out here. This year's been stressful, and people are like, no, look, they're getting sick. I know someone that got sick. All of this stuff, right? We're not just talking about Kyle. We're not just talking about CV and words we can't say because we'll get censored. We're not just talking about any one of these things. We're talking about a pattern of fear, hate, division. Remember I talked about the third-person omniscient perspective? We don't have that detailed of a perspective, but we don't need to hypothesize on all the conspiracies and the NWO and what's going on and all this stuff. We know that the police, the politicians, they're terrorists, they're robbers, they're human traffickers. We know the people that are trying to close the border and prevent free travel and are trying to lock us down in our districts. We know that they're fascists because history tells us that's what happens, because law, liberty, God's word, if you're a believer, the Constitution, if you believe that, natural rights, if that's what you make your foundation on. All of these things tell us that we have the right to live, to travel, to wear a mask, to not wear a mask, to take a vaccine, to not take a vaccine. Any medical expert organization run by politicians that tells you one thing one day and literally flips and tells you the next day you gotta do like this is a fraud. That's not science. That's not the power of information. That's the power of propaganda. So what I wanted to talk about today is stop being a part of the meme mob. If you see it in a hashtag, if you see it on a meme talking about how some Netflix movie is the worst thing ever, when actually it's nothing like the meme mob is saying, it takes a little bit of research. It takes a little bit of independent thought. It takes questioning and not just repeating what we're told from the propagandists who control the media to say, wait, I suck sometimes. It's true. I know it's hard to believe. No, it's not really hard to believe, is it? And sometimes I'm too aggressive and too harsh, and sometimes I get drawn into faction. Usually I realize, whoa, this is faction crap. And so usually I catch a lot of crap for calling people out for their faction crap, but that doesn't mean I'm not affected. You can't be immersed in lies all day and not have it affect you. That's the world we live in, and we have to fight it. And we have to really challenge ourselves. We've got to start operating on facts, evidence, science, justice, truth, love. And until we do that, we really are screwed. Until we stand up for each other and stop falling for the bait of propaganda, the bait of hate, fear, rant. Let's try to stop being the disease and start being the cure. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom in. We're gonna do this close-up shot. You guys want more videos? I'll make more videos. You want more videos? I'll make more videos. I will. I'm serious. I'm really serious. All right, let's not get carried away because good night.